Last week on Let's Talk About It.
No matter how good you think you are, there's always somebody better.
Yeah, that's I can see that stress for sure. Can you talk a little bit about what you would advise someone going into the combine?
When it comes to going pro, right? In college, it's a little different now than when I was in college. And I'm really not that much older than you guys, which sucks. But uh in college it's become a little more selfish now. But once you become a pro, like being a team and stuff, that's great. You really want to be for the team. I'm play the most unselfish position in probably all of sports. The thing you really got to remember is you got to be a little selfish. You got to get yours before you worry about anybody else on the team. Before you worry about anything else, make sure you get yours. Make sure your stuff is taken care of, because at the end of the day, no one's gonna give a shit what happened to you, right? Because they're a pro just like you are. Just like how you're trying to be a pro, they're trying to do that, right? My coaches always used to joke in college, it's not a 4-year scholarship, it's a 1-year renewable. I don't know if anybody else has heard that before, but that's what they love saying to us. And like, they were just reminding, you got a year to get cut or not. And once you get a pro, man, you got to practice. You can make one mistake in 5 minutes. There's a story, a rookie guard, NFL free agent signing. He pulled the wrong way into a vet. He wasn't there for the second practice that day.
Oh wow.
One play got him cut. One play, and if as most of you know that watch football, that was 3 seconds. That was 3 seconds of this man's life that ended his career on that team. And that's how you gotta go at this professional stuff. Nothing's guaranteed in this professional world of sports. What have you done for me lately? Now, what'd you do before?
Man, I'm sure that's daunting for a lot of people watching this. If you could go back to at any point in your career, what's something that you would change if you wanted to change anything?
Trained with the gym I train with now, because your pro day is so important. Your combine, whatever it is that helps you gauge your athleticism as a player, that is so important that people don't really understand. It's so for me, I was never going to the combine. I was never good enough to go to the combine, but I was good enough to where if I showed out in pro day, somebody probably would have given me a phone call. And if they didn't, they didn't. That was fine. But then I would have had no regrets going, I ran my hardest. I did everything I could, and I did that. I ended up running, I think, a 5.640. Like, it was horrendous for me. When I pulled my hammy, I ran terrible. I end up getting healthy and training again and rerunning it with the gym I ran at. I think I was lasered at like a 5.2. So like a half a second difference. It was crazy. My biggest kind of regret in sports is not training with an actual gym and just training with my college coach, who I think would have been better than doing it by myself. But
Mhm.
a gym with people to race against, to go against, with not in the Florida heat. I drove like an hour and a half I drove like 2 hours round trip to train and things like that. It just wasn't really conducive. It wasn't the best thing, and it's probably why I pulled my hamstring.
Mm. So you may have answered it already, but I put it on a light mood. What is the craziest thing you've ever done in pursuing your dream to be a professional athlete?
When the USFL year came around, so when you rupture your tricep, it's usually a year recovery, like when you're fully ready to go, but you're fine to start working out about 6 to 8 months later. I got in that call at 9 months. So they were like, "Hey, can you play?" I went, "Yeah, of course. Yeah, sure, no problem." They're like, "You're not gonna cry about your elbow, are you?" No, of course not. No. I was in so much pain.
Yeah.
I was hurting all day, every day. I was like, man, my arm hurts. If you watch that tape from that first year, I'm number 79, and I have a white sleeve on my arm. I got every compression on that thing. I got drop foot in my ankle. My arches are collapsing because my ankles hurt so bad. Man, it was crazy going from like thinking I'm never going to be able to play football again to then like you're not really healed all the way, but you can play, so go. And I went, okay. So I went, and my arm didn't bend straight either. It's supposed to be straight out. It was kind of like that.
Oh, wow. That's unfortunately really common in sports. A lot of athletes play injured, and I'm sure, especially as you get to professional sports, when your career and your dream is on the line, that it's even more pressure to play injured, huh?
Once you're a pro, it's especially when you got stuff riding on it. Like once you got stakes, like you got to feed your kids, you got to feed your family. Man, you're gonna do everything to to get there, like to get to make it on that field. Because a lot of things that people don't really understand is that like you get paid when you step on that field. Like once they have that active roster, set, then you get that paycheck. If you ain't on that active, you ain't getting that full check. So like I'd always joke with them and things like that. I'm like, hey man, I just need to be on the team for a good, week and a half, 2 weeks. Just let me be active for that. Man, I'll walk away. Just let me get that.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, I mean, we could probably talk about the finances of pro sports forever. I mean, let's not even talk about how it is in volleyball and all these other sports too. It's crazy. But thank you for coming on the show and shedding some light. Do you have any last things about your experience or advice that you'd want to give to athletes right now?
Continue to work hard, and if you don't see results, keep working hard because eventually something will happen. And lastly, don't be afraid to make a phone call. Don't be afraid to send that text message to whoever you think is on the other end. Because I'll tell you right now, I suffer from it right now. I don't want to be annoying. I don't want to beg. I don't want to sound desperate. I don't want to do all these things. Whereas my dream is to continue to play football and to eventually reach the NFL. I'm getting old now. I only have so much time left to really make it there. So don't be afraid to send it because a door shut is always going to be a no. If you never ask the question, the answer is always no. All right,
Hmm.
that's an old adage, and it's true. Let somebody tell you no before you assume no. And I struggle with that every day. So that would be my last advice.
Hey guys, it's Sydney. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Let's Talk About It. If you did, make sure to leave a review and send it to a friend. Let's keep this conversation going. I'll see you guys next week.